Hello, superstars. My name is Aaron. I'm the president of Colored Pencils. Tommy is currently being held captive, and this is the Super Pod Saga. That's right. This is the Super Pod Saga, the podcast where usually Tommy and I discuss every video game topic there is, and then we slumber for years at a time and awaken on a full moon to feast on flesh. But just like you heard earlier, Tommy is being held captive by the Malaysian cartel, who demanded a ransom of 4 easy payments of $32.99 plus shipping and handling. But paid him up front, and he'll be delivered next Sunday, weather permitting, via USPS. Thank you, Nave. Thanks for shipping Tommy to me.
I'm USPS. Or is that what you said? Did you say UPS or USPS?
USPS.
Okay.
You're good.
Sounds like the plot to Far Cry 4.
It could
very
be.
confusing. These acronyms.
I'm not alone, though. Joining me are two fabulous fellas to comfort me in my time of need without my fellow co-host here. We have Thrak returning once again.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
And we have Nave making his 8th appearance on the show, I think. Sounds about right.
The third chair.
Yeah, the third chair, basically.
You know what's amazing is, so I was talking about this to Philip, and he gaslit me right back around. I don't know if you guys are gaslighting me or if he's gaslighting me now, but I am yet again convinced that Tommy doesn't exist because we didn't use our cameras whenever we last recorded. And also, I went back and listened to it again. I didn't really press you guys that hard. I was just like, I just accepted. I was like, oh, I guess Tommy's here. And you guys could have pre-recorded those answers and you could have used the soundboard and everything.
Jesus
I don't know.
Christ. Oh my god, I love this like fucking Tommy AI fucking Robotron rabbit hole shit.
Yeah, and the longer this goes on, the more likely it seems. Because technology is getting easier to access, you know?
I mean, I've seen you, but I haven't seen Tommy, so.
Oh,
look at that. I've never seen Tommy and Aaron in the same room.
Holy shit. Okay, I'll see if, yeah. I was about to call Tommy real
quick.
Call
Tommy up on the phone.
Yeah.
FaceTime him.
You're on the pod. I need answers.
Tell me your best PS2 game right now.
He'd be like just waking up from sleeping and be like, some MLB shit.
Tamagotchi Life 7.
Yeah, Tamagotchi. Oh, fuck. That'd be a good side series for Tommy Tamagotchi. Anyway, holy shit. Hey, Thrak, tell people about yourself and your show and the games you like and all that stuff.
I have to spiel again? Okay, so I am the co-host of the 3DO Experience, which is me and Bill from the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. Every week we get together and talk about the 3DO, the company, the console, the games, all that good shit. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time doing it. So if you guys want to listen to that, make sure wherever you're listening to this, you can listen to the 3DO show there as well. We're on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Thrak94 if you want to yell at me there. I'm now on Blue Sky. I'm at Thrak on Blue Sky if you want to chat with me. It's just preparing in case, Elon decides to make everybody pay for Twitter and the whole thing burns to the ground. So It's just a backup if we need it. So that's where I am. And yeah. And I guess, yeah, we're talking about the 6th gen today, which is, I have a lot to say, but we'll get to that as we go.
Nice. Nave, for anybody that hasn't heard one of the 13 episodes of our show that you've been on, where can people find you? We'll talk about your show and games you like and yeah, all that stuff.
I'm one half of Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. I am the unhinged half to the regular, normal person that is Philip, and we talk about cooperative games. He plays video games while I try to sabotage him actively, and it is a show where for 1 hour and 50 minutes, we talk about whatever's on our minds, whatever horrible things we found on the internet. And then for 20 minutes, we occasionally talk about video games. You can find us on @GameTogether on Twitter, X, whatever Elon wants it to be called. And you can find us on Facebook and all of that podcatcher stuff. I don't know really how technology works. I just show up.
All the writing on the cave walls and everything.
Yeah. That's
Fuck,
how
man.
That's how Philip communicates with me. Is he just takes pictures on cave walls and sends it to me in Discord.
Could you imagine seeing a cave painting that had a URL in it?
A cave
QR
painting with
code.
QR code.
A
Yeah,
QR
dude.
code, yeah.
I would take that piece of rock home with me. I'd walk home with it.
Oogabooga.com or some shit.
Yeah, and it is just porn. Of course it is.
Cave porn.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That is the first website.
That's cool, dude. Crossbreeding saber-toothed tigers with woolly mammoths to create the ultimate killing machine.
Yeah, it turns out Pokemon isn't an original concept.
The cavemen did it first.
Step bro, I'm stuck in this cave.
Could you imagine subtitling caveman porn? It's just like ooh ooh oh oh. Then in the subtitle, it's just like
You know,
No.
I think that's my career calling. I should just quit my accounting degree and subtitle caveman porn. So
No, dude, the subtitles are just hieroglyphics of sex, which is just the images on screen, but smaller, and on the bottom. You know what I mean?
it's fucking. Oh my god!
If you like to sit
stick
real
figures.
close to the screen, you can just see that little stamp in the center.
Hieroglyphics. Holy
By the
shit.
way, guys, I don't know if listeners can't tell, but we've just been talking this exact same way for like 45 minutes. We were supposed to start an hour ago,
Yeah,
and we've just been bullshitting just like this.
that's the show. Holy shit! Well, yeah. Today, this episode, I promise, it's not about cavemen or caveman sex, dinosaurs. It's the 6th generation of consoles and our favorite games for those motherfuckers. Because man, what a time! The late '99 to like the early 2000s. Holy fuck, that a time to be alive. You had what? Christina Aguilera all over the goddamn place.
You had Britney
Oh, yeah.
Spears not swinging knives around everywhere.
She wasn't bald yet. She didn't shave her head yet.
I still would.
Oh, do you remember? What is it? Juice Box? Those little like weird MP3 players that had like the little like tiny microchip sized cassette tapes that you plug into them, and you could listen to music on them and shit.
Well,
No.
I remember there was the
Oh.
toothbrush. It was like the electric toothbrush that when
Tooth
you,
Tunes?
that when you
Hell
brushed it,
yeah.
it would
I
play a
remember-
song into your head.
I remember the commercials for that. You guys ever look at those? Go to YouTube compilation of nostalgic commercials for 30-year-old people, and then like it is just like what is it? The chia pets and the
Oh.
things that make the plants grow out of their hair. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What were those
Yeah.
called?
Chia pets.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Chia
Pets.
Chia.
Stop.
Like, right.
You could get a chia pet of Abraham Lincoln, give him an afro at your local Kmart.
The thing that I remember is that nobody usually remembers is that like you could
Kmart.
have Nickelodeon episode things on Game Boy Advance cartridges.
The
So I
GBA
would
video carts.
I would
Yep.
watch the SpongeBob episode where what is it? Sweet victory. Yeah. That's that fucking episode that I
where
had.
they're doing the halftime show
Yeah.
where it's
It'd
like
be-
for Squilliam.
I had
it
the
was
fucking best
compressed.
episode. Oh yeah, dude. It was compressed
could-
for all
Pressed like a
shit.
motherfucker.
The best GBA video cart is it had the complete movie of Shrek 1 and Shark Tale on one cart.
No.
And it looks worse than any 144p YouTube video you've ever seen.
That sounds amazing.
All of Shrek.
It is amazing.
That's
Uh,
fucking insane.
How did they do it?
Magic? They called Satan. I think that's what they did.
They
They
called
called
Satan.
they called
They
the same
called-
guys that put Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch. Those guys are still in business.
They
Yeah.
called up Satan on his old Nokia cell phone.
Mhm. Yeah, my one, because I'm a bit of a GBA collector, probably my one lofty, dumb goal is when I get the GBA video carts, I want to get all of them complete in box. Because
Holy fuck.
there's like maybe 20 of them. There's not that many, but I would like to try to hunt all the boxes down as well, because that would be a fun thing to have. And then frame it so that when I die, you can just throw that right into my casket when you not bury me. What's the other thing? When you put-
Cremate?
Cremate, yes. Cremate me with the video carts. I want them to cremate with me in the urn.
I'm gonna try and die in a saw trap and like have my body limbs be flung with catapults like across Oklahoma, so that it's like a Super Mario side quest where you
Yeah.
gotta find the star pieces, put them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, That reminds me when I was watching Saw 2, because I've only seen the first two. They were so bad I couldn't keep going. I think it's in
They
Saw
get
2.
fucking wilder.
Yeah, like I think it's the guys
Van
looking
Wilder.
at like the door through the eyepiece, and it's either like a bullet or something just goes straight into his eye, and just the effect. I started crying. I was laughing so hard. It
Oh my
was
God.
so fucking silly.
Oh man. Okay. So if that hasn't sold you on the series yet, there's one movie I
They're
forget
just
where.
bad. They're
I for-
very bad.
Hold on. There's like fucking 10 movies now. I forget which one,
Mm-hmm.
which movie exactly it is. But they have to fill up this machine with like a certain amount of blood. So this dude like puts his hand into this like it's like this table saw, and it saws his hand like all the way up to here, and he takes his hand out, and it's like very crappily like animated, and it's like flopping all over the place, and like yeah,
That's amazing.
that's fucking
Because like
cool,
the first
dude.
one was okay. Like it's
Yeah.
it's the closest to being like an actual like decent horror film. You know,
The
It's
first,
just,
I
two
had a
is just ridiculous.
I had a
Yeah.
story about the first one where I had almost bled to death, like around the same time that the first one came out. And so when I watched it alone because my parents were like, no, you can't watch this. This is adult stuff. And so as soon as they left, of course, I decided I'm going to watch that adult movie that they got from Hastings. That's only going to be here for 2 more days.
They didn't think to
And-
hide it.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and then so it was fine until the end where he saw. So spoiler alert, he saws his foot off. It's called
Oh,
Saw.
That shit was
He
great.
saws his foot off. But yes, but this is the thing: is that when he started getting all pale and stuff, it made me faint.
Yeah, that's
Like
fair.
I fainted as a kid because I started getting PTSD from when I was about to lose my blood. And I was like, oh, I
man.
know this feeling that he's feeling. Probably he's feeling it a lot worse.
And I love that guy is Carrie Ewells from Princess Bride.
Hey, welcome to the Saw podcast, everybody. Episode
The-
1.
The Saw cast.
Episode 1. How many pints of blood do you really need in your body?
Episode 2. I really want to hop into that syringe pit. I know I'd get one hell of an infection, but
Well,
dude,
there are the 2 Saw games.
Yeah. Well, that was,
I have
that
one
was
of
another
them.
thing I was going to say is
I
that
have one of them.
as a kid, I would watch like Saw 3 and I'm like, man, this would probably make an awesome game. And then those Saw games suck. But I have all the achievements in both of them, I'm pretty
The
sure.
first one's okay.
I think the first one is cool. It has an interesting idea. Spoiler alert for the first Saw game, everybody. But I think it's really
Cover
interesting.
your ears, kids.
So you go through the tutorial, and then you have a character that's like the first chapter and has the tutorial in it. And you can there's 2 endings. There's an ending where you get through the last trial, and there's an ending where you fail at the last trial, and then the game continues on whether you live or die. And then the end of Saw, the very first game, is determined by whether or not you lived or died at the beginning of the tutorial mission, which is so the main character you're playing as in the tutorial is someone who had murdered somebody and yada yada yada. Now you, as the character in the last chapter, is someone who is married to the person he murdered, and then it's all about whether or not he decided that he should pay for his sins and die for murder, and then you get to live. So if you beat the first chapter of the game, then you literally can't get the good ending
what
because
the fuck?
because you fucked
Interesting.
yourself.
Interesting.
I'm like, that's not good game design, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Because that's frustrating.
Yeah, and wasn't it one of the Silent Hill devs worked on it? Like when they went to like the Western shit?
IDK,
Could not
lol.
tell you.
Wikipedia.
I'm gonna be honest, the only reason
Zombie
why-
Studios. I don't know who the fuck that is.
The only reason why I ever bought it is because True Achievements told me I can get all the achievements in 4 hours.
Well, there you go.
I was like, sick.
But yeah, it was published by Konami, so that's probably what made us go, "Oh, it might be okay," because they hadn't broken our hearts yet.
Let's start by talking about the Dreamcast. You know, that one was the first that came out that generation.
Ooh.
What kind of
the Dreamcast? My heart yearns for thee. It was the
It really
little engine
was.
that could. You know,
It came out on my birthday. So
Oh, really?
The Dreamcast, yeah, September 9th, whatever fucking year.
1999.
I remember specifically because my dad got out of jail a couple of days early, and then I think it was my PS2 that I had at the time. Or no, I had a PlayStation. No, I had a Nintendo 64. I don't remember. Whatever console I had was vanished, And then I was like, oh, that means I'm getting another one because it's pawned off. And so I just waited patiently. I didn't know anything about gaming or anything. I was never like super into games as a kid, but I knew like what video games were, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to result in me getting a game console. And then I got this Dreamcast. I'm pretty sure it was the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I didn't get a Dreamcast till many years later because I grew up as like a Sega fanboy because we had a Sega Genesis in the house and I used to play that thing religiously. And I remember it was probably like 2002, 2003 when my parents were like, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Oh, can I have the new Sega console?" And they didn't have the heart to tell me it wasn't in the stores anymore by that point. So, but we also had an NES, so I was like, I'll take the GameCube, sure. And then I got a GameCube, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, I eventually got the Dreamcast, and yeah, I fucking love that thing. It's a shame because it's such a good console, like genuinely a good console, but Sega had just ruined their reputation in the last like 4 or 5 years with, the horrible launch of the Saturn and all the weird peripherals they were doing and just Japan and America clashing constantly. That by the time we get to the Dreamcast, it's like they got their shit together, but I just think consumers in general weren't ready to take the leap with Sega again, especially when the PS2 was looming. So it kind of makes sense it had a limited life, but in that limited life, we got some all-time classics, both first and third-party all-time classics, games that people still clamor for to this day, but Sega seems to not really acknowledge it anymore, or at least they don't want to, and I kind of don't get why. Because like I get not wanting to acknowledge the Saturn, even though I love the Saturn personally, but the Dreamcast is just considered by everybody, I think, to be a success to a certain degree, And if they brought over, say, some of those classics, people would love it. So I don't get it.
Yeah, classics like the fish tank simulator with the Star Wars guy.
Yeah, Seaman, the Star Wars guy.
I love Seaman.
I love Seaman too.
Seaman's cool. It's a goddamn shame with the Dreamcast because, like, every single morning I'll wake up covered in sweat at 3 a.m. and I'll be like, man, I wonder what Sega would be like if they were still around, or like had they given the Dreamcast another couple of years.
Yeah,
like where would it be at?
I gotta slip in there because I thought you were gonna say you wake up in the morning covered in semen, and I thought that was just gonna be the end of the sentence. But you actually had a thing going on.
I mean, that's being the cream of the crop.
I should have gone with that.
The cream of the creme de la creme.
Creme de la the creme de menthe. Yeah, there we go. Okay. No, but for real, yeah, the Dreamcast was super ahead of its time. Fucking 1999, it had a built-in modem, so literally all you needed was just your internet connection. You just pop a fucking cable in there, and you could take over the world, baby. You could check your emails on the motherfucker.
Yeah.
You could Google some fucking cat facts. You could fucking do anything on that thing online.
VMU is really cool.
The VM Tamagotchi memory card. Can't go wrong with that.
I always liked when you had a VMU in your controller and you turn the console on, it just beeps every fucking time. Beep every time.
Or like when you turn the console on, then it has like a disc in there. It'll give you like the chug that like it'll be like beep chug. Yeah. That's treat the disc. It'll like grind the fuck out of it.
And the iconic startup screen with the squirrel.
Oh yeah, dude.
Love that shit.
I'm hearing it. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh yes. Sega.
So
yeah, I often wonder as well where the industry would be if we had the big four instead of the big three with hardware makers.
Xbox probably wouldn't be around. I don't think.
No, they'd still be around.
Yeah, they had Halo, but it's like they had a lot of support from Sega after the Dreamcast died, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a ton of what like carried them through that generation.
But a lot of those Sega games on the Xbox really didn't take off because it was games like Shenmue 2, Crazy Taxi 3, Toe Jam and Earl 3, Panzer Dragoon Orta. Like these are really cool games, but they weren't big like system pushers. Like Halo was a big pusher for them, and then the Rare acquisition was big for them at the time, and also they were like
grabbed by the ghoulies.
Yeah. So far,
system seller.
Brute force.
Yeah.
What else happened?
Blinks
the top. Dude, I always think
Don't
about
hate on Blinks.
Brute Force. Yeah, Link's was fun.
Fusion Frenzy.
Dude, Fusion Frenzy was good too.
Yeah. But also they were at the time they were the best third party machine. Like if a third party game was on Xbox, that was probably the best way to play it. So
I had something I was gonna say about the Dreamcast, but then we went on.
Its controller isn't that good.
Yeah, the controller is weird.
Don't
the
talk
lack of
about
that
the fucking
second
Duke.
stick.
No, the Dreamcast.
Yeah, we'll get to the Xbox later. We're going in order.
Which is weird because like the Dreamcast controller is essentially a variation on the Sega Saturn 3D pad.
The Dreamcast controller only had one control stick?
Yep.
It was still that era.
I fucking remember that.
But
Holy
that's
shit.
the thing. And the thing is, I love the Saturn 3D pad. It is honestly one of my favorite controllers. I love that goddamn thing. That weird like spaceship Star Trek looking thing.
Yeah, dude.
Whereas like the Dreamcast, I don't know, the hard plastic analog stick, just not my thing.
The cord on the cord on the bottom.
Yeah, the buttons are kind of weird. The D-pad is mid. The analog triggers are nice.
This shit looks like a leapfrog.
A little bit. But it's
I
nice.
can't believe I you know what? In my head, I was thinking of the Xbox Duke, like legitimately. Like I thought it just looked like the
Yeah.
Duke,
It's
but
pretty
with
similar.
a hole in the middle. It is very
Yeah.
similar, but it really doesn't have two analog sticks. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't standard yet.
And then they had that fucking keyboard peripheral that you could get for the fucking Dreamcast
Good old Typing of the Dead.
Typing of the Dead,
The-
fucking Phantasy Star Online.
They had the fishing reel for Sega Bass Fishing as well,
yeah,
which is a
fishing
fucking
reel.
banger of a game.
I had this. Okay, so in the town that I grew up in, Chatsworth, this fucking teeny tiny town in Iowa, population of like maybe 50 people, possibly less, possibly 40 people. There was this one kid that I was like kind of friends with. He was like a real dirty kid, real dirty.
What do you mean by that? Like just didn't take showers?
No,
Oh,
No.
okay.
he just yeah. You
He
can
was
just tell
really
that
into
He's
Dead or Alive, if you know what I mean.
he's
mostly dead.
what's that Peanuts character that they're Pigpen?
Oh, Pigpen.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You were friends with Pigpen.
Basically, you could tell that he didn't shower for like weeks. But anyway, he had a Dreamcast, and that was like the only reason I ever went to his house was to play his Dreamcast because he had Crazy Taxi 2, and I would just constantly drop people off at Pizza Hut, and holy shit.
Take me to Domino's.
But you had to put like a little clothespin on your nose every time you went over.
Every single time I went over there, I had a shopping cart tied around, or not a shopping cart,
Shopping
bag,
cart, the whole thing.
shopping bag tied
Oh, yeah.
around my fucking head.
It's like Manhunt.
I'd rather fucking I'd rather fucking suffocate than be in that smelly fucker's room for longer than 10 minutes.
But it was worth it just to play some Tony Hawk, man.
No, it was Crazy Taxi. He didn't have
Tony
Tony
Hawk's
Hawk.
on the Dreamcast as well.
All he had was Crazy Taxi. Yeah,
That's all he had, really?
he might have had like some fucking like Madden game, but I don't give a shit.
There were no Madden on the Dreamcast.
Well, it was some football game, I guess. I don't know sports, man. Come on, that's Tommy's thing.
Well, it's kind of my thing too. So I'll help you. I'll help you out with it.
Okay, it might have been like yeah something, but well yeah. What were your 3 favorite games for the Dreamcast? Start with either of you.
Well, we've already talked about one of mine, so I'll just get out of the way. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, the Tony Hawk game for the Dreamcast.
Good one.
It's a banger.
This is the only game I really remember playing on the Dreamcast because I was super into Tony Hawk, and man, I was really into Tony Hawk for a very long time. And this wasn't like the peak of it. I remember Tony Hawk mostly on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
But
that was the peak of it.
man, this was the peak of the Dreamcast for me. I have a really strange memory tied to this. Almost all of these, none of these are going to be like my favorite, I don't think. Most of these are just games that I have specific memories tied to the system. And
Yeah,
so
fun.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I have this specific memory where, like I said, my dad got out of prison and I lived with him for a couple of months. And he had a roommate. We moved to Texas. And it was this weird kind of California guy that I didn't know. He had this accent I'd never heard before, the California boy accent, you know. And he was kind of a dumbass. And even as a kid, I could tell he was very stupid. But I liked him. He was a funny guy. And one day when I was playing Tony Hawk, the fire alarm started going off, and my dad was gone somewhere. And so it was just this guy. And so I'm like, what the fuck's going on? But I just kept playing Tony Hawk because the adults will fix it, whatever. And the guy comes and grabs me and he's like, you got to help me. And he takes me to the kitchen and he reheated some tacos or burritos, but he left the aluminum foil on the food and the kitchen caught on fire. And then he grabbed me, who was like 7 at the time, to help him put the fire out. Like, it was
What
on
the fuck?
fire. Like, so, and that was like, that's my this is my primary memory of the Dreamcast, is me playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and then this burrito fire. Like, happening.
That's awesome.
You're fucking pinned underneath this, like, this piece of the ceiling that fell underneath you, just playing Tony Hawk, like you're slowly burning to death, but you're jamming to some fucking horse or whatever.
Yeah. And then just my dad screaming at that guy. But I was like playing Tony Hawk, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, see, when I was like 7 or something, I set some aluminum foil on fire, but that was just me putting like you remember the Wendy's like wrappers that used to be foil lined, right?
Yeah.
And I put one in the microwave because I wanted the rest of my burger, and then it got set on fire, and nobody had told me because I was like 7 or 8. So, but I've never lived that down. They still joke about it to this day.
They're like Thrackington Junior, Senior, Junior, whatever the fuck your name is. Don't ever do that again.
If only they knew. If only the people IRL knew my online name. They don't.
What, Thrak? What are your 3 favorites?
So my favorite Dreamcast game is the one I played the most of, and really made me a fan of the series as a whole, and that is Soulcalibur.
Ooh,
you stole. No, I'm just joking.
Well, it's so fucking good. Like, I remember when Soulcalibur 4 came out on the 360 PS3 days. Yep, I had that.
That's a good one.
And it's a great game, and it was actually kind of console-worry with the people I knew in high school, because some of them had a PS3, and they're like, oh, we have Darth Vader. And I'm like, well, I have Yoda, who's fucking better anyway, so eat shit.
Yeah, he's harder
Was that
to hit.
4?
That was 4, yep. That's when Star Wars crossovers were still kind of... Yeah, and that was when Star Wars crossover... 3 had nobody.
They added Zosalamel and
they had PS2
Terra.
only because Soulcalibur 2.
Well, that's why I forgot 3 existed.
Yeah, because Soulcalibur 2 sold the worst on the PS2, so Sony got pissed and was like, "No, make 3 only PS2," and then nobody bought it.
Yeah, well, Soulcalibur 2 had the dumbest fucking guest character. I bought it too, but
yeah, well, did you know for PS2? Yeah, they had Heihachi. I think. Did you know who they were?
Yeah.
You know who was originally supposed to be there?
Sweet Tooth. I don't know.
Cloud.
Wait, let me. Fuck.
Oh,
that would have been
fucking sweet.
Sick,
Cloud would have been sick. Yes.
Cloud would have been perfect. Instead, they got the fucking stupid Tekken character, Tekken, where they don't use weapons. What a dumb fucking character! And they only got it because they didn't have it was cheap because they also had made Tekken games. Right? It's the same people.
Yep, both are Namco.
Oh my god!
Before the merger.
I was a kid and I was like, what the that was the last one too, because I went Xbox, GameCube, PlayStation, and so I was super hyped off of Spawn and then Link and
fucking
then
Link.
Stupid Tekken character. And I'm like, oh my god, we already have a Tekken character! Yoshimitsu's in the game! What are you talking about?
Yeah. And I had Soulcalibur 2 for the GameCube, so
holy shit.
Yeah, so Link was a big.
I was very disappointed.
But yeah, Soulcalibur 1 on the Dreamcast is... It's still to this day amazing. Like, I'm not the biggest fighting game guy, but the ones I really like. And I remember when my heavy Dreamcast days, like, I used to play that game for hours. Like, I think I beat the arcade mode with every character, and I just couldn't stop playing it. It's so fun, and it finds a really nice balance of, like, it can be button mashy for like kind of new people, but also there are like more complicated combos for people who want to get more into the tech of Soulcalibur. It finds a really nice balance that makes it very approachable, but also you can get really into the tech of it if you want to. And I've always really liked the character designs. The 3D fighting, I think, is done the best with Soulcalibur, with the sidestepping and everything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just just an all-time classic for me. I love it to death. I don't know if this one's been re-released or not. I can't remember.
I think it's on. No, two is on.
Yeah,
Xbox One. Backwards compatible.
yeah.
Never
Because I
mind.
think 2, the version of that has Heihachi and Spawn, but obviously not Link because Nintendo.
Wait, no, 2 doesn't have Heihachi, right?
on the
Xbox is Spawn
Xbox
only.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like for the online version, I think they were able to get Spawn again. It's just they couldn't get Link again for obvious reasons. Yeah. Spawn and Heihachi are both in the Soulcalibur II HD Online versions.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, but
neat.
gee, I wonder why they couldn't get Link. But another thing with Soulcalibur, and I think at the time was a big deal, was that it was a near perfect, or in some ways a better arcade port.
Oh yeah.
Because for the longest time, arcade ports were always downgrades because of the hardware not being up to par. But with the Dreamcast was built on I think it was built on Sega arcade hardware, right? Like, wasn't it based on like
I thought it was like
Model
Windows
Model
ME
3
or
something?
some shit.
I think the
Kinda.
Dreamcast was built on Windows stuff because
Okay.
that's why they had a relationship with Xbox as soon as the Dreamcast died.
Yeah, but the hardware that was there was comparable to the arcade machines at the time. So getting Soulcalibur just as good, if not better than the arcade, was a real big deal and kind of signaled the end of arcades, at least in the West. So, but yeah, love Soulcalibur.
I don't know anything about the hardware, so you're probably right about that. But I remember because like it being kind of based like similarly on Windows technology, it was also why they were able to do like the internet stuff that we were talking about earlier. Because it was just like a lot easier just add that into the thing. Like because it was more like subtracting things from the game software than from adding, right?
I think so. Because the graphics chip in the Dreamcast is a Power VR2, which is based on like DirectX, which is Microsoft stuff.
Direct Xbox.
Fucking WinZip or Winamp or whichever.
Yeah,
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, but I know they were trying to go for like matching their arcade hardware at the time, which was like Model 3 and everything, which was really fucking good. I want more of those Model 3 games, man. Because one of the Yakuzas is giving us Daytona USA 2 for the first time ever over here, and I am fucking hyped for that. I forget which Yakuza it is, but we're finally getting it.
It's so wild to think that that if Sega were still in the hardware business nowadays, that like the Yakuza series would be exclusive to Sega hardware,
and that would be the marquee franchise for a Sega console.
And then same for like pretty much fucking any Atlas game, because Sega bought Atlas in like 2006.
It was later than that.
Was it like 2011
it was in the
or some
2010s.
shit? Okay, yeah, they'd be the premier console for Persona 5. I think that came out 2013.
That would be so fucking weird. Yeah,
it's
2013 is when Sega acquired them.
Okay,
is it weird that it would be it'd be a marquee title on a Sega console, or that it is a marquee title on the Xbox console because of Game Pass?
That they're both weird.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of people going, "Oh, Persona 3 or was it Persona 5 Tactica? That's an Xbox exclusive because I'm just already gonna get it for free. Why would I fucking buy it?" I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, Soulcalibur, love it to death. I love all the Soulcalibur games. I know one of these days we'll get Soulcalibur 7, but until that day, you can play all these ones. They're all really good.
My favorite Dreamcast game is Power Stone 2.
Oh, fuck yes.
A game that we'll never fucking see a remaster of because Capcom hates all of us, but Power Stone 2 is just like...
I think they forgot they made it.
I fucking really wish we could get a remaster because it'd be so great.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect for today's online multiplayer world.
Or honestly, you might not like that I say this, but like if, say, Smash Brothers wants to do a reboot, they could maybe say, "Hey, Capcom, do you want to do a Power Stone like game with all these Nintendo characters?" Because Power Stone's kind of Smash a little bit,
basically
kind of 3D Smash Brothers.
It's got all those little different. Well, I guess the weapons are probably about the same. They've got bazookas and laser guns and swords and shit.
Yeah.
And then you've got the
And I
the levels that are constantly
Yeah.
falling apart and shape shifting and shit.
and I bet you if you put Nintendo characters on that, it would sell a bajillion copies. Yes.
No, they got to go with the Power Stone idea and ship it to Xbox and make a giant Xbox clusterfuck Smash clone with Power Stone, but also
they own all of
7
these
billion
characters.
IPs. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did with Killer Instinct when they had like the Arbiter and
Well, no,
Rash.
because those were just guest characters. I would like, so you know what? Okay. So I've been talking about this for 2 years, but I'll give you this idea as well. It's free if you want to go and pursue it to give it to Microsoft and then make millions of dollars.
Yes, I have Phil Spencer on speed dial.
The very next Killer Instinct game, Killer Extinct, and it is a crossover fighter with all of their fucking characters.
So
Killer
do like
Extinct.
Banjo-Kazooie.
a Marvel vs. Capcom, but
Yes.
like with all Xbox characters.
All their Xbox characters, all the IPs, especially after the Activision acquisition. They're gonna have fucking Call of Duty man himself shooting and throwing grenades, frag
Captain
out.
Price?
Call of Duty, man.
They're gonna have
Captain Price
Captain Price.
fighting a Forza car. I'm all in.
Random Japanese guy with a rice hat from World at War. They're gonna have him. He's gonna throw grenades, and that's all he's gonna do. He's gonna throw grenades because that game on Veteran. That's a joke for 7 people in the audience right now.
I can finally have Joanna Dark and the dude from Fable 2 fight each other.
Dude, yes, the evil dude and the good dude. They're 2 different characters.
Yes.
Or the dog.
And the dog!
The dog fight.
And the dog. No, the dog is like his assist. Like when you do
you're
the
right.
mad combos, the dog just comes in.
Dog comes in.
But would you have a Forza car?
Yes. Just
Yeah.
like in fucking Virtua Fighter, yes.
Okay. What's Dave, what's your second favorite Dreamcast game? If you have one.
I'm gonna go with a generic one, I guess, but I guess I'm gonna go with Sonic Adventure 2.
No, that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Sonic Adventure games are peak Sonic. I'll fucking say this until the end of the time.
Well, I think that too, but that's because I fucking loathe the 2-dimensional Sonic games, but I also am not a fan of 2-dimensional games in general.
What?
And also,
The fuck, man?
I just am bad at them. I have no patience for them. They make me so upset.
God. As somebody who grew up on the 2D Sonic games, that hurts a little bit.
That was the thing, is that I grew up on 2D Mario games, and
Yeah,
then
I
when
grew up on both.
my dad sold my SNES and then got me a Sega Genesis, I guess, whatever Sonic was on, and then I was like, this isn't Mario, and then I just stopped playing video games for like 3 years.
Damn.
Because I was like,
Damn.
this isn't Mario, and then I just left.
Yeah, it's better.
But the music was better.
Oh, hell yeah.
The music was better in Sonic.
my
Yes.
god, yeah.
I was, which made me angrier because I was like, I hate this game, but I want to listen to the songs. Like, why can't I just fucking?
I mean, there
Hear
is
the
a sound
music.
test.
I didn't know. I was a dumb little kid. But so Sonic Adventure 2, I hated this game, but the Chow Garden fucked so hard. Like,
yes, it
so
does.
that was like my zen moment in between angry fucking moments of not getting it through Tony Hawk's Pro Skater levels and not being able to get the high scores and find the fucking skate and shit.
Having to put out fires.
Yeah, I would do the Chow Garden stuff, and I would make evil chows because I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I can make them little pieces of garbage. Okay, and they get little devil horns. That's cool. I'm a fucking edgy boy.
You just throw them all over hell and they become evil. And just like throw them all over the place and shake
Yeah.
their fucking eggs and they'll be like, fuck you, Sonic.
Sega is leaving
You little
so much
bitch.
money on the table not making a Chow Garden game.
Yeah, just on the fucking mobile phones.
Seriously,
I'd do it.
if you made a mobile Chow Garden game that had microtransactions, it would make them $1 billion.
No, seriously, like there was a in Final Fantasy VIII. There's this fucking game, a card game called Triple Triad, and
I
there
fucking
was a
hate that
random. Well, I love it, and that's part of this. That's the crux of this story is that I love Triple Triad, and it was literally exactly Triple Triad with the exact same cards, all the assets and stuff. I don't know how they did it because it wasn't fucking Square Enix making this game. It's just some random like Chinese company, and it's like every match you played in between you'd have like 2 ads, and then you just play another game of Triple Triad. But I fucking loved it, and I'm like, why aren't they doing this? Like, why isn't this just a fucking game that they make?
Yeah, because I've heard so many people go on and on about how much they love the Chow Garden. And to the point where I'm like, why has Sega never capitalized on this? Like, it would just make so much sense.
And print
to
money.
do. It would print money. Seriously.
They're too busy fucking working on the drone racing mini game in Lost Judgment.
So
Thrak, what's your next Dreamcast game?
well, since you brought up sports, I'm gonna bring up some sports, baby, and we're gonna talk about Sega Sports NFL 2K. Now, it could be 2K 0, 1, 2. It honestly doesn't matter. All three of them are fucking amazing. So basically, the NFL 2K series exists because during the Saturn days, the Madden games didn't sell, and the Saturn was notoriously a flop. And so EA's like, we're not putting our sports games on here anymore, which was a big deal because Madden and all like the NHLs and all that got famous for being on the Sega Genesis. Like that's where you played the sports games, right?
Mhm.
So Sega was like, well, shit, we have to make our own. So they contacted one of the old Madden developers, Visual Concepts, and said, hey, do you guys want to make like a Sega branded, like, like sports games? And they're like, yeah, sure. And so they did NFL, NBA, NHL, all those. And those 2K games still exist today because Sega eventually sold off them to 2K Interactive. But sadly, NFL 2K does not exist anymore because EA is evil. and at the time, basically NFL 2K 0 to 5 are all some of the best, if not the best, like simulation football games that have ever been made. They are fan-fucking-tastic. Like probably the best one on the Dreamcast is 2K1. And if you play it today, I think you'd be surprised at how much it's aged. Like it is still an incredible game to play, even by today's standards. Like it has a nice deep franchise mode. The football feel like the simulation gameplay feels really good. The animations are stellar. The presentation is great, and the presentation only got better in 2K4 when they got the ESPN license, so that they could do ESPN branding and have Chris
The
Berman.
Ocho.
Yeah, and they had Chris Berman doing like halftime reports and shit, and it's like it's so authentic. It's amazing. And what sucks is Madden has the ESPN license for their games. They just don't do it, which really fucking sucks.
You know what's really wild is like, why don't they sell announcer packs for like modern Madden games? Like I would pay,
That'd be cool.
I'd pay $10 to have fucking Deadpool narrate my football game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think modern Madden has a lot.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Hey,
Modern
he
Madden.
threw the football. Now he's catching it. Adrian.
Yeah. Like modern Madden has a lot of issues, and those issues started when they bought the exclusive NFL rights for video games. And it was a real soul-crushing moment because the NFL 2K games still stand the test of time, and they have become deified with like sports video game fans.
Jesus
like
Christ.
the best. I mean, NFL 2K5 is probably the best football game ever made, and it's a game from 2004 on the PS2 and the Xbox, and it is better than like any football game that's ever been released since. And it's a fucking shame, So, but the NFL 2Ks, they started on the Dreamcast, and they're still really good there. So my pick would probably be NFL 2K1 because it's got Randy Moss on there because Vikings fan, yay, pain. but yeah, they're fucking great.
I don't know shit about sports. So the next game on my list is Skies of Arcadia, because you know what I do love is fucking pirate ship battles,
RPGs, baby,
and pirate ship customization and turn-based battles. Well, I don't fucking care about football. I love turn-based RPGs.
Football's a turn-based RPG, anyways.
That's right. True. Yeah,
it is.
I need to fucking grow up, man. Oh, no. But
I love Skies of Arcadia.
I don't. I've played like maybe a little bit of the original on Dreamcast. Like I played quite a bit of like the Legends on the GameCube, but the original game is still fucking fantastic. I've spent so much time like customizing ships and just like doing the ship battles and stuff like that. I forget how the fuck far I made it into like the actual like story or the game, but the combat was just super fucking fun too. Super varied, super cool characters like Vice and the who's the old guy? I forget the old guy's name.
Yeah,
Kevin.
It's been a long time since I played Skies of Arcadia, and it's definitely a game I've wanted to like sit down and play through again. But yeah, it is a very high quality RPG. Like the Dreamcast had quite a few really good ones, but Skies of Arcadia is the one that stands out for most people.
Hearing that word over and over again is just making me think of the song Arcadion by Children of Nova, which is just prog rock. I don't know what the fuck game you're talking about. So now I'm just sitting Arcadia, like just fucking
Well, that's
listening
how
to
it
that
goes,
song
yeah,
in my
yeah.
head.
Well, if a turn-based RPG where you play as Sky Pirates sounds interesting, it's worth a play.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty fucking
It's like
cool, man.
Starfield, but better.
Pretty much.
Kinda,
Yeah.
kinda.
I haven't put a lot of time into Starfield, so I'm not
Starfield
sure, man.
is okay.
I put 98 hours into Starfield.
God
I put
damn.
like maybe 12. I I'm not a Bethesda guy.
I am the Bethesda guy. I fucking love it.
Fair,
Which is
Fair
why
enough.
I like making fun of it.
fair enough.
What's your next Dreamcast game, Dave? Hopefully Bethesda game.
Yeah, it is Elder Scrolls 6. I really didn't play too much video games back when the Dreamcast was my console, but the only other game that I really can remember was Hydro Thunder.
Ooh, damn good one.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is terrific.
Hydro Thunder. Or however the
Hydro
intro goes.
Thunder.
R.I.P. Midway. R.I.P.
I don't have many memories about playing this on the Dreamcast. I did have it on the Dreamcast because, like, my dad knew that I love. This is one of my favorite. We would go to the bowling alleys and I would play Silent Scope and I would play Hydro Thunder. Those were my two fucking
yeah.
games I played all the time, and occasionally Area 51. And man,
Every arcade has Area 51.
dude, it was a fucking staple. I wish every arcade had a Silent Scope because I talk about Silent Scope and people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I've played Silent Scope.
It's so cool. Did you ever get to play 2-player Silent Scope? Because that's peak Silent Scope.
Yes. I
Oh,
did
it's so
once.
cool.
It was awesome.
I wish, you know how they have those fucking 1-up arcades? Why did I say 2-up? 1-up arcades. I wish they would have 1-up arcades where you could buy 2 Silent Scopes for like $150. And
Do they have a Silent Scope?
no, for sure
Okay.
not, because that's way too complex. Because just for the listeners, Silent Scope was a sniper rifle light gun game, and you had a sniper rifle gun, and it was attached to the cabinet, so you couldn't pick it up and move it around like normal, like Time Crisis or whatever with the pistols. And inside of the
Reload.
scope of the sniper rifle was another screen that was like 16 times zoomed in. So wherever
Holy
you were
shit.
aiming your gun, it would be a zoomed in portion of the aimed in area. And so and that was cool in itself. But whenever you had 2 of those cabinets together, which was rare apparently, but if you had 2 of those cabinets together, you can do a fucking PvP game mode where like one person would be in a Ferris wheel and one person would be in an apartment complex, and you would have to find each other quickly, and it was like the best out of 5. Whoever, it was like fucking tag basically,
cool.
where you were just whichever sniper found the other sniper faster won. It was an amazing game. Like it was like the fucking king of the arcade in my bowling alley. Like everyone was always lined up to play Silent Scope.
Yeah, Arcade 1-Up, they only have one like gun con, and it's Big Buck World.
Fucking of course,
Of course, dude.
Yeah, probably because the
Man.
license was cheap. Because I'm like, I didn't realize these fucking machines were so goddamn expensive.
They're very expensive.
Because like I saw like the NFL Blitz one, and my eyes got lit up a little bit because NFL Blitz is also
And then
great.
$500, right?
600.
Oh my god! Is
Oh
it
my
the
God.
license? God damn it!
I mean, it might be because it has like the new NFL logo. I mean, hell, even just like a little tabletop like Pac-Man one is a bit pricey, and it's fucking Pac-Man.
I remember those from Pizza Huts from back in the day,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
I'm just saying that honestly, I think it's worth it if you just want one of them, and like it's just
Yeah.
your favorite franchise, like Mortal Kombat. I think the Mortal Kombat one has multiple Mortal Kombat games on it, so it's like
Yeah.
okay, that's cool.
I mean, hell, the NBA Jam one's pretty cool too.
Yeah, NBA Jam is fucking sick. You believe Bill Clinton himself?
See, I thought they had an Outrun one, or maybe
Yeah, Outrun was fucking sick too.
yeah. Well, you know,
It wasn't.
me-
It was
you know
no
me,
Cruising
Sega guy.
USA
I mean, you know me, Sega. So they have Ridge Racer
or
Ridge
Rush.
Racer, San Francisco Rush.
Rush. Yo, yes, bro. And there was that in the Rush. What is it? 2042.
2049.
2049.
How the
I
fuck
was
do
so
I
fucking
remember
close,
that?
bro.
I don't know why I remember that shit.
Dude, and it was like, I remember the first 2 tracks, I would fucking smoke people. I would dust them because I knew where all the fucking the shortcuts were. You like go through the window and shit. I'm like, oh my god.
Good fucking shit. Yeah.
And I remember it'd be like, rush, rush, rush. And I'm like, I'm a child.
You're all coked up on Little Debbie's and Mountain Dew.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hydro Thunder's good.
Hydro Thunder, yeah.
It's a boat game. You can play it. This game's backwards compatible on the 360 if anyone's interested. You can play Hydro Thunder still.
yes.
And the multiplayer exists, and people still play it. Like 3 people at any given time. So it's only going to be the same 3 people. But it is very silly.
What about you, Thrak?
So my last one, I figured we couldn't go with the Dreamcast without talking about this game, which is, it's a big one. It's a big one. Shenmue.
That was on my list, and I'm glad you picked it, so I can pick something else.
Baby, I love Shenmue.
Yeah, this is why I was advocating for us like going one at a time.
So with Shenmue, in fact, I bought this for my Dreamcast back in the day, and for whatever reason, my copy wouldn't work. Like, I would watch the opening cutscene, right? And then after, nothing. And I tried so many things to try to like fix it or clean it myself. It just never really worked. So I never got to play it until when they did the 1 and 2 like port collection for, I think I had a PS4 at the time. And so that's when I played through Shenmue 1 for the first time. And yes, it's aged. Yes,
that fucking voice acting for sure aged.
This formula has improved. Yes, but this game is such a foundational game for like open world stuff, you know, like GTA 3, the fucking Yakuza series and beyond. Like Shenmue was really the first to do that kind of detailed open world, maybe a little too detailed, but it's a memorable experience. And you know, I still remember the forklift driving, that shit is great. Having everything be based on like, you know, real-time weather, and you know, you can play little arcade games in it.
Yep.
And
yeah, you for sure can.
Yeah, and then
Space Harrier.
Yeah, it was really kind of like trying to make like an immersive sim mixed with like an action game or whatever. Like, it's not even really an RPG, but it's just I really enjoy it for what it is, for all its little quirks. It's just a shame that like it was meant to be the game that was going to save the Dreamcast, and despite it doing very well, like it reviewed really well and sold really well, it wasn't enough. So it was kind of like the last hurrah for the Dreamcast, and feels like Sega's sort of grand finale before they went third party. But I still like it, you know. I can see people not liking it because it is definitely aged a lot, but it's like watching an old like Japanese movie, you know. It's like, it's not for everybody, but for the right people, it is fantastic.
I never played it back in the day, but I do have it on my, you know, Xbox Series X or whatever. I just haven't ever gone back to,
because it's like $5 for the two of them. And I've played a bit of Shenmue 2, but I didn't get very far in it because I know that game, it's like they want you to like, you know, work, and because you're not in Japan anymore, you move over to Shanghai. So, you know, there's like, oh, I have to get a job and make money and everything. And, yeah, it's a little much, but the collection you can get on PS4, PS5, Xbox, all that, for probably like on sale. It's on sale for like $5 most of the time. So it is absolutely worth getting both.
My last game, I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off of Nave here. I'm going with the first Sonic Adventure because I fucking love the soundtrack so much, and I love exploring like the beginning town, Central Station, or whatever the fuck it's called, and then like the Windy Valley or whatever the fuck. How open they made that fucking game, and how they hid so much shit in like each of the different little areas for you to hide once you unlock different the different little gadgets and shit like that, like the light speed dash thing. You could unlock like different what is it, you could find like different golden eggs or whatever for the Chow Garden, or like all this other shit. But yeah, Sonic Adventure, yet another game that I originally played on the GameCube because I was a baby. I had no idea the Dreamcast even existed back then.
It plays better on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, it still plays incredibly well on the Dreamcast.
And it's weird to think that was 99, and like 5 years before that was Sonic and Knuckles on the Genesis. Like, a lot had happened in that 5-year span where like Sonic was on top of the world, and then Sega is basically on his deathbed. And so they
fumbled real hard with Sonic Extreme.
Oh god, yes. And so they had to, you know, get Yuji Naka and be like, hey, can you actually make a Sonic game for us? And he went, okay, I guess. And then he made Sonic Adventure.
Then he fucking delivered. Sonic Adventure was just so good.
He's delivering in jail now. I can tell you that much.
Dude, those fucking
Oh,
Sonic
no.
Adventure games were horrible for my anger as a child, and just you bringing up Sonic and Knuckles, because I don't even know what that is, but I remember Knuckles in Sonic Adventure having the worst goddamn
Yep.
fucking missions in the whole game, and it just brought back my fucking preteen anger and rage because I had no understanding. You're like supposed to like climb on walls and find things. I don't even remember. It was like
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
a different type of level in the game.
It was the emerald treasure hunting thing where you had like the little like
And it would be
radar
like,
thing.
boop,
Yeah.
boop.
And the saddest thing
it's
is
better
that
in
he's the
2.
coolest character. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I would like to like this guy. But every time he's on the screen, I'm like, oh god, I hope I don't have to fucking play that guy's level.
It's better in 2 in my opinion. I think the Knuckles levels are better.
I would much rather play the fucking Big the Cat fishing minigames where he's like,
Froggy,
wait for me, Froggy. Yeah. I'd much rather do that shit than do the fucking
I'm all out
Knuckles.
of bubblegum, Froggy. That
Get
blows
me on
my
my
mind.
butthole, Froggy.
It blows my mind. That fucker is Duke Nukem. Blows my mind.
What?
The guy who voiced Big the Cat in Sonic Adventure is
Stop.
Duke Nukem. Swear to God.
All right, we're moving on to the PS2. I'm not going to fucking fall down that rabbit hole.
That cat hole.
And when you listen to it, knowing it's Duke Nukem, you'll hear it.
I'm imagining it right now. I can already hear it. I'm comparing the two. I'm comparing the "Hail to the King, baby" and "Wait for me, Froggy."
Hail to the king,
Hail to the
Froggy.
king, baby.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, Froggy, and I'm all out of bubblegum or whatever the fuck.
Sonic.
Whatever. PlayStation 2, everybody.
Oh, the fucking PS2.
The DVD player, baby.
The DVD player that sold 150 million units. Oh yeah, it had some games for it too, didn't it?
Yeah, it had some games.
Yeah, it had a few.
It had Kinetica,
Hurdy-gurdy.
Killzone.
Oh yeah, Killzone.
Killzone
Switch.
2.
Kill Switch.
The
The first cover-based third-person shooter.
I don't know what that is, but
Well, basically, Gears of War got its cover-based system from Kill Switch.
nice.
Yeah, not a bad game.
Man, what a fucking time. I remember my very first memory I can even recall with the PlayStation 2 is going to my cousin's house for the weekend, and they were like, hey, let's watch a movie. And I was like, all right. And they whip out this fucking CD because like I was like a little kid. We only had a VCR back at home, and they were like, hey, do you want to watch Harry Potter? I'm like, fuck yeah. And they popped it into their fucking PlayStation 2, and my mind was blown. I was like, holy shit, we're watching a fucking Harry Potter movie on the game console.
Was it the original PS2 model, like the fat one?
Yeah, the fat boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. Who wants to go first with their first game?
I guess I can. I mean, I don't remember what the original order was, but I mean, primarily the PlayStation 2 was a PS1 machine for me because I never had a PS1.
Nice.
So I was playing like older games and stuff like that. But as far as the PS2, really, I'm gonna get the obvious one out of the. I'm sorry, my fucking allergies randomly just started ramping up.
You're good, dude.
Allergic to the PS2.
What was I just saying? The game that everyone's going to assume that I'm going to talk about, which is Guitar Hero 2. And
Okay.
Oh yeah, great fucking soundtrack.
See,
So-
I remember the 360 version of that more.
also me. But so Guitar Hero 2 was probably one of the last games that I really, really, really played on my PlayStation 2 before I got my 360. And man, I was absolutely obsessed with this. This was my kind of awakening into music as like a human being, but like me realizing that humans made music and like there was music outside of movies and games. Like I didn't understand. I was like, oh, the radio plays music, but I just didn't fucking care. I was a kid. I was like playing with my fucking Goku doll and
Your
stuff.
fucking Bionicles while
Yeah, my
Christina Aguilera
Bionicles!
plays in the background.
Holy shit. My Bionicle and my golden fucking Burger King Mew Pokemon card.
Oh,
I
dude.
remember those.
The fucking dipping your Burger King chicken nuggets into that green slime shit they had back in the day, the green slime dipping sauce. Remember that fucking
I don't
nasty
remember
shit?
that. I don't.
It's like green apple flavored. It was terrible.
That sounds awful.
It was terrible. Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
But no, like Guitar Hero was the same for me. It was like I mean, there was always kind of like music around, but Guitar Hero was really where it felt like I found the type of music that I liked. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Because like a lot of that stuff I was never introduced to. So it really kind of, honestly, Guitar Hero is probably why I became a musician, you know? 'Cause-
Well, that's the most interesting thing about it is that Guitar Hero not only it's if you find Guitar Hero in a developmental stage or like a similar kind of rhythm game, it really changes the way that you experience music because it forces you to hone in on a specific section of the song,
yeah.
right? Like when you fuck up in Guitar Hero, you no longer hear the guitar, and like you are aware of what you are
Plunk,
playing.
plunk.
Like you start associating the notes of the guitar with the things that you're trying to interact with on the screen. And I think that that is such an integral part of understanding the composition of music in general. I didn't mean for this to become like an actually technical fucking. I was because I'm a
It's all good,
goofy
dude.
meme lord, penis vagina, lol. But Guitar Hero really was influential in the way that developmentally in the way that I started approaching music, and it is just it's such a seminal moment in my life. Not Guitar Hero 2, but Guitar Hero 1 when I was like a child and like experiencing this, like people seeing me learn the fucking game and playing Bark at the Moon and shit on easy, and they're like, "Oh
Fuck
my
yeah.
god, he's playing Ozzy
Yeah.
and he's having fun." Yeah,
It was
all
a
of that.
big deal. It was like a cultural phenomenon, Guitar Hero, because when that came out, everybody was fucking into it. You know, because I
Yeah.
think at our core, we all like the idea of playing music, but not all of us have the skill or the discipline to really make it work. And Guitar Hero video gamifies it in the perfect fucking way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like a party thing because you guys might be roughly the same age as
Yeah.
me, but I remember like when I would hang out with people, we would just play Guitar Hero or Rock Band like all fucking night. Like we would set
Oh
it up
yeah.
and just play it till like 3 in the fucking morning, just having a blast, man. And I miss those days sometimes, but
I
yeah, they're
have
fucking great.
I have a specific memory where I lived with my aunt and my uncle for about 4 or 5 months, and my uncle did tattoos in this house. He was a licensed tattoo artist, and but he did it out of his house, and he would have people over probably like 2 or 3 times a week, and he would have me just sitting. He would do the tattoo. He used to have like he'd do it in like this kind of other room that was supposed to be the dining room. He moved it into my bedroom, like my makeshift bedroom, and I would just play Guitar Hero so that they had something to focus on while he was doing their tattoos. And
That's
Guitar
cool.
Hero was like the hypest shit. So they're like, "Oh, this is that really cool music game, right?" And I just got so good at playing Guitar Hero because I knew people were watching me and I wanted like them to be distracted. And so it was like this weird fucking interaction of like, oh, I'm constantly playing in front of people like an actual musician. I felt like I was really like making music and shit like that, but really I was just distracting people from the pain that they're experiencing and stuff. But it's like it really activated those neurons. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it does what it sets out to do, and that's give you the feeling of playing a kick-ass song on stage and people loving it. And I guarantee you, I'm not the only person that played that and went, I want to try that for real. And then you figure out how to do it for real, which is much more complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. Still love Guitar Hero. It occupies a nice soft spot, particularly Guitar Hero 3. 3 was the big one for us because I remember I think it was in middle school. Like a friend of mine invited a bunch of us over to his house, and he had one of those big like flat screen rear projection TVs with Guitar Hero 3 on the PS2, and that was like I remember we started playing that like in like afternoon till it was like 2 in the morning, and we all were still
Jesus.
awake. And then the next game he popped in was fucking Resident Evil 4, and then we started watching him play that. So, and that's my
Fuck
first
yeah.
my first experience with both of those games was in that night. So, and Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. So, very seminal moment as well.
Yeah, man. Guitar Hero was there for us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It defined some of my music taste and kind of kind of defined me as a
Oh,
person
fuck
a little
yeah.
bit as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, completely changed the trajectory of my life. Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that on top of Tony Hawk and
Oh yeah.
ATV Off-Road Fury and shit like that. Where like
yeah.
all these games with fucking
Defined
great
your
soundtracks.
music. It defined a generation's music taste.
I really loved Avenged Sevenfold there for a little bit when I first played Guitar Hero 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they made like one more album, and I was like, dude, this band sucks ass,
Yeah.
and I stopped.
Avenged
See, my-
Sevenfold's interesting because they are a band that are constantly iterating. Like they're not. I'm sorry, the opposite. They don't iterate. They make
No.
like completely different like concept albums over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to love them if you only want to hear one thing.
What's your first pick, Thrak?
Well, I feel like you can kind of guess what I'm gonna say because we're talking about PS2, and that is
No.
Dragon Quest VIII: The Journey
Oh.
of the Cursed King.
I'm
Oh
out.
yeah.
That's such a fucking good one, dude.
Well, if you want more of my detailed opinions on Dragon Quest VIII, you can. I've talked about it previously on A Novel Console, which is another podcast that I'm kind of the I'm kind
Chris
of
is a fantastic guy.
oh yeah, I'm kind of the third chair in that show, and we did an episode where we talked about Dragon Quest VIII there.
I don't know if they like me.
Oh, you don't? Why not?
I'm sure they do. Chris
maybe,
rocks, dude. Chris is awesome.
Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like maybe I'm a little too edgy on Twitter. I think that's what it is.
Just join the Discord, man. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. It was the first Dragon Quest game to drop the Warrior title outside of Japan. So no more Dragon Warrior. It is now Dragon Quest. It was the first 3D game in the series because Dragon Quest VII was still rocking the weird 2D stuff, and is a pretty fantastic JRPG from the PS2 era. In fact, did you know it is the best-selling PS2 game in Japan?
That doesn't surprise me. They fucking love Dragon Quest. They worship that shit.
Oh yeah,
even more than Gran Turismo 3 a spec.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And
they have fucking. There was this like big.
It's one of the best-selling PS2 games in general.
There's this big like rumor about like when Dragon Quest 3 came out, everybody like the whole fucking country shut down because people would just like call into work to play Dragon Quest 3 or something.
Yeah, it was people were calling in sick of work so they could go buy the game.
Yep, they fucking love it.
Yeah, and Dragon Quest VIII continues that, and Dragon Quest VIII is considered a high point in the series for many people, myself included, even though I would say 11 is a better 8 in a lot of ways. But 8 is still really, really good. What I always liked about Dragon Quest is the more kind of simplistic approach to the RPG genre. You know, it's not, there's not a lot of frills to it. It doesn't try all this weird experimental shit. It just kind of knows what it is, and it does it really, really well. And 8 is just another example of that. It's just a very finely tuned JRPG that I love. I played the 3DS version of it, which is the version to play. And yeah, it's just an overall fantastic game. I would recommend it. It's one of the better games in the series for me.
And it was the first one to drop random encounters, wasn't it? Because that was when you first started seeing it. Oh, really?
No, 9 was on the DS, because the 3DS version of 8 gets rid of random encounters, but the PS2 version still has them.
Okay.
Yeah, the PS2 version it looks better than the 3DS version, but the 3DS version plays a lot better because it has so many more like quality of life improvements and some extra content in there as well.
Like the alchemy pot.
Yeah.
I fucking love the alchemy pot.
And Dragon Quest VIII, it is the 12th best-selling PS2 game overall, which is pretty good.
The main thing, because I was goobering around, you know, I'm a huge fan of JRPGs, but I didn't understand what, at this point in my life, in the 6th generation, I didn't really understand what role-playing games were. And there was a chase game for a long time. I talked earlier, PS2, I only played PS1 games. It was because I played Final Fantasy VIII. That was my first JRPG, and it changed my life. I played it for about 4 hours, and it changed my life. And then I spent the entirety of the 6th generation searching for Final Fantasy VIII or a game that was like that. And I could never articulate as a child what I wanted for the longest time. And so PlayStation 2 was the last of the 6th generation of my games. So that was the end of the 6th generation. And then I went into the Xbox 360. And so it's kind of weird because we're jumping from Dreamcast, my first experience, to the PlayStation 2, which was my last experience. But so there's a gap there that I could fill in later. But it's like Dragon Quest completely slipped me by.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't get into Dragon Quest till like 2019 because I think that's when 11S hit the Switch, and I heard people going
Same.
on about it. I was like, hey, let me try the demo. It's like 10 hours. I fell in love with it. Bought the copy. I think I put like 90 hours into that game or something. It's ridiculous. Love it. And then was like, what is this series? And then I've learned about it and have gone back and played most of them. I haven't beaten all of them, but I've played most of them. It's become a bit of an
Yeah,
obsession.
fuck yeah. I played the most recent one,
Yeah.
which is 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was on Game Pass.
It's on
By
everything, yeah.
like by fucking golly, is that game way too long? But the characters are
A little bit.
really cool. Like it's like the game is. I mean, this is coming from a Yakuza fan, but it's like the game was long, but it was like primary content, and it was all spread out. Whereas Yakuza is long because you play mahjong for 20 hours, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh wait, what was I doing? I forgot.
And Dragon Quest game design kind of, it's that Japanese thing, which is like the reason Japanese people love RPGs so much is that they want to take their time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why a lot of JRPGs are usually kind of have a glacial pace because they let you kind of appreciate taking the time with it, you know.
Speaking of RPGs, my first game, Rogue Galaxy.
Ooh.
It's level 5,
baby.
Yeah,
5,
dude.
baby. Professor Layton.
Rogue Galaxy was probably wasn't my first. I think I bought a PlayStation 2 for Kingdom Hearts. Like that was like one of the biggest RPG. Yeah, I played the hell out of that game. Haven't touched it since. not a very big Kingdom Hearts fan anymore.
I just bought 1.5 and 2.5 on Xbox like a while ago.
Oh fuck!
I think I have every single possible game you can own on the Xbox for Kingdom Hearts on my fucking.
Yeah, I don't have the other two yet. I will at some point.
But Rogue Galaxy is really fucking cool because like coming from like I played a lot of RPGs on PS1 and then I played a lot of Kingdom Hearts. Rogue Galaxy is cool because I think this is even before I discovered the Tales of series. Like the combat is cool because it puts you in this little closed off arena, kind of like the Trials of Mana remake. Or who gives a shit? Puts you in like a little closed off arena, and it's more like action based combat. Each character is completely unique. They have their own unique like melee weapons and attacks, and their own unique like ranged weapons and attacks, and their own unique like abilities and spells and shit like that. Like the main character Jasper, he just of course has a sword and a fucking pistol. He's basic vanilla bitch, but he has some really fucking cool attacks. Like he has like a lightning sword attack. And yeah.
He's also got a huge cock.
Dude, I fucking bet. He becomes a god later in the game, so he goes ultra dick mode.
He has a level 5 cock, if you know what I mean.
Dicko mode.
They have like a lot of really goofy characters too. Like one of the other main characters, his name is Digo. He's this like bulldog person who has like a Gatling gun arm, and I forget what the fuck his melee weapon is. There's some Amazon chick with a bow. There's like the worst character ever. His name's like Jupus fucking Tukey or something like that.
What the fuck?
He's this like alien dinosaur guy, and he sucks ass. But no, the game is super rad. The combat fucking rules. Character progression is so good.
It's got the most convoluted crafting system ever.
I don't remember anything about that, but I remember the rest of the game being really fucking good.
Oh yeah, it's another Sky Pirate RPG. You know,
yeah,
they need to make more of these.
I didn't think about that, man. I really love Sky Pirate games.
I mean, they're great, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and I love level 5. I'm excited for
I do love level 5.
The new Layton game. Whenever we're getting that, we're supposed to get Deca Police this year, but I've heard it's probably going to get delayed the next year. But that's okay.
What's next for you, Nave? Is it Yokai Watch?
What fucking
on the PS2?
I don't know.
PS2.
It's too late for me, dude. It's almost 11. I'm fucking brain dead.
All right, I got a lot of these. I'm gonna go with Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Oh, I would have went Deception.
I thought about Deception, but Deadly Alliance awoke something inside of me. Deception was better, for sure, but Deadly Alliance was something of a phenomenon in my brain because I have always been kind of a Mortal Kombat boy. I've always been attracted to the edgier, the Scorpion, Sub-Zero fighting, everything. I fell off on Mortal Kombat 4, and I was like, how they can't possibly bring me back. But then they were like, we're dedicating ourselves to the consoles, and also Liu Kang. is dead. And I was like,
he's a fucking song.
No!
They fucking killed him too.
Dude, I was like, no! And Shang Tsung killed him? No! Like, you know, I was a child, and I couldn't believe myself. Now, this does extend itself. I mean, I don't want to rob you guys in case you guys want to talk. I doubt it, but in case you guys wanted to talk about the other ones in your lists, I do extend it to Deadly Alliance and Armageddon. I really loved the entire trilogy of the 6th gen Mortal Kombat games, the 3D era.
Fucking Armageddon.
Dude, I'm a bit of a Mortal Kombat fanboy, so we could talk all day about that shit.
Oh my god, Mortal Kombat 1, have you played it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. No, we gotta fucking link up so that you can talk to me about it. It's so good.
To be fair, I slept on the new trilogy for a long time. Like I just recently did Mortal Kombat 9. So, and I have 10 and 11, so I got to get on those.
Oh, you're going to play through all of them? You have to play through all of them before you get to 1.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's the plan. It's just I kind of slept on 10 and 11 for some reason. I don't know why, but I have them now, so I'll get to them. But
I absolutely get it.
But like I grew up on the Sega Genesis. We had Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and I played the shit out of that as a kid. Love it. One of my favorites. And then yeah, I had Deadly Alliance and Deception, and I remember with those, especially with Deception, like I spent as much time watching the behind the scenes content as I did playing the game.
That was probably the most interesting part, was the crypt of those games.
Yeah, like learning
that gave
about
you so much extra knowledge.
Yeah, and they gave you all the history of the series and all the different lore with the characters and everything, and I just soaked it all up. And so, like, in my brain, I just have a whole section dedicated to Mortal Kombat, you know?
A whole lobe.
Yeah, and that's like,
like,
I don't give that much shit about a Street Fighter or Tekken or whatever. They're great, but they're just not my thing. But Mortal Kombat was always my thing.
That's so interesting that you brought that up, because I never considered that. And like, I was like, why? Because I played Tekken, I played Street Fighter, I played Soulcalibur, and it's like, why do I love Mortal Kombat so much? And I think it's because Mortal Kombat had the crypt and all of that extra content I got to dig into.
It has more interesting lore, I think. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I think so as well.
Yeah, the story and the characters just mesmerize me for some reason. It's like how some people get with certain games where they know all the characters and the little quirks. For some reason, for me, that's Mortal Kombat. Like, I could tell you everything about Cyrax right fucking here. But
dude, me too,
I'm not going to do it, but I could, you know?
We got to make a Mortal Kombat fucking podcast while you're playing through the new games. God damn it. I need to fucking talk about Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 and how good they are. Yeah, and 1 is so good too. Oh god!
Because I'm still soaking in MK9. Like, I thought it was okay. You know, the story just felt like it was. They're like, oh, we kind of have to nostalgia bait, but like we want to do something kind of. It felt like it's setting up the other games.
It is absolutely a nostalgia bait, but at the same time, it is. It's really fun, kind of like it's like a what if scenario, but they're making it canon. Yeah, but also it's like there are some very silly things that happen.
Like it's all a straight line canon, which is really weird.
Yeah.
You know, like none of the games feel out of place for some reason, but
that makes I almost fucking spoiled something. I had to
it's all good.
Regurgitate that.
But yeah, I love those games to death. Like Deception, I have it on the GameCube back here. Love that. I had the GameCube version because you could play as Shao Kahn and Goro.
Oh yes,
which was cool. Fucking awesome.
Yes, dude, and that was another reason why I put Deadly Alliance on the PS2 is because I had Deception on I played Deception on the GameCube because my friend had it, and that was where I was primarily playing it.
Oh yeah, and I love Deadly Alliance, but like I remember in the arcade mode, I couldn't get past what's his name? It's like the cave troll
Moloch.
I could never get past him.
Yes, dude, he's a fucking piece of garbage. That's why you couldn't get past him.
Yeah,
they fucking the way that they made him play. Fuck him, dude.
Terrible.
And then you get to play him as in Armageddon, and he's garbage. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Armageddon is such a mixed bag. Like I like it, but you can tell
concept.
They were. Yeah, like I hate the creative fatality. Like it was
garbage.
It was neat, but when you learn that they did this because they didn't want to make at least one or two fatalities for every character. It's like, oh man, that's kind of lame.
Yeah,
and
it feels lame, but it's also like there's like is that the most characters in a single fighting game?
I don't think so. Because Smash Ultimate probably takes the cake. Smash Ultimate has like 80
That's
some characters.
Really interesting.
I don't even know.
But it's also like Smash Ultimate does Smash. Yeah, no, Smash Ultimate has the ultimate Smash abilities, right? There's extra moves.
Yeah, the final Smash.
But Smash Ultimate is a newer game. I don't know. Let me look
Well,
at this.
well, and Smash Ultimate has Sakurai, who's a fucking perfectionist weirdo. So of course he would do all that shit. Let's see. Number 1, Smash Ultimate with 86 characters. Oh wait, but then they also mention a fucking Naruto game that has 120 characters.
That sounds right too.
Which is
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
crazy. Yeah, Armageddon has 64.
Wow, it's that little?
Yeah. No, that sounds about right.
That's a lot.
I mean,
yeah.
it is
I mean,
a
and
lot,
it-
but I meant like in comparison to Smash having 80.
Yeah. But I like how with Armageddon it plays into the story that there's like too many fighters and it's like causing the
Yeah.
realms to just shatter in their core, which I think is hilarious.
I think that's another thing too, is that it's Mortal Kombat is so edgy, but also so stupid, and that like people have a hard time like squaring with both of those things at the same time. When they
Yeah.
see edgy, they want more like realistic. But it's like
Yeah.
it is
It's still
Mortal
a
Kombat
video
is
game at the end of
so
the day.
insane compared to almost every other fighting game. Maybe not Soulcalibur, because that campaign, like those stories are very insane as well.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a lot of time travel and stuff. But like, oh man, I would just love to hear your fucking like in 2023, hearing your thought process of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 10. Holy shit, that sounds so good.
Oh yeah. It's on the list.
Whose turn even is it now? Is it Thrak?
That was me. I brought up Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
All right. Me next. Let's see. We should do an exclusive. We haven't done any first party games really. So, but I'm gonna do one. My favorite Sony franchise, Sly Cooper.
Ooh,
Specifically
nice.
Sly 2. That's my favorite of the bunch. But I fucking love the Sly Cooper games. I've been a fan of them for a very, very long time. And as I've said before in various Discords, the only thing that would get me to buy a PS5 right now is if they announce Sly Cooper 5. It's never going to happen. So, I'll buy a PS5 in like 29 or some shit and then play it then. But yeah, fucking, dude, the Sly Cooper game, specifically Sly 2, like, that was a game that it hooked me on the art style. That weird kind of like cartoony art style.
Yeah.
And then I actually got to play the game, and the game was even better. So I don't know how much people know about Sly Cooper because it's kind of forgotten these days. But it was a trilogy of games on the PS2, and then it got a fourth on the PS3. That's whatever. But where you play as this character named Sly Cooper, who is a raccoon, and he comes from a family of thievius raccoons, a thievius raccoonus. And so the first game is you're trying to get the book back of his family history. But then the second game is him and his pals Bentley, a turtle, and Murray, a pink hippo, are just going around the world doing heists, because that's what they do. They do heists, they do jobs, whatever. And it's like kind of stealthy-ish, but it's more just like a fun action-adventure game that has like some open-world hubs that you go do missions in. And with Sly 2, you can play as all three of them. And Sly, Bentley, and Murray all have slightly different play styles, and there are times where they kind of combine them together, where it's like,
That's cool.
Sly and Murray go do this mission, and then Bentley and Murray do this mission, and each hub has its own set of missions where you're setting up the heist and then you're performing the heist, kind of like GTA 5 but better. So, and it ends with like the big heist where you're swapping between all three characters, and it's a lot of fucking fun. It is.
That does sound really fucking cool.
It's fantastic. Like. Especially when you're Sly, like when you're sneaking around with people, they have this little soundtrack bit that's just like a bass guitar playing when you're sneaking. So it's just like boop 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 boop.
That's so fucking funny that you
boop 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 boop. Like it's very stylized, and credit to Sucker Punch. They're a really, I think, underrated studio. And they really got their feet wet on Sly Cooper as well. And Sly Cooper 3 is also fantastic. It has the same setup as Sly 2, but they're just like getting a bigger party of people to do this real big heist where they're trying to open like the safe, like the Cooper family safe essentially. And then Sly 4 is time travel, which is whatever. But I've played them all, love them all to death. Sly 2 is easily the best of the bunch, and I highly recommend it.
It's so funny that you brought up that random bass line, is because a podcast was talking about it, so I randomly looked it up. And it's not a gaming podcast at all. And so that's even funnier.
Yeah.
But so as soon as you talked about that bass line, it immediately popped up into my head. And I never played any of the Sly Cooper games. So
they are worth your time. highly. I mean, you can skip the first one if you want. I just say 2 is the one to play. Love 2 to death. And its
That
ending,
does sound cool.
it has a really it's not really a sequel bait ending, but it ends in a way that makes you go, okay, I kind of want to see how they follow this up. Because it has a really good ending, which video games tend to fuck up the endings, I've discovered. But Sly 2's ending is very strong. I won't say what happens. You got to find out. I'm not spoiling a game from 2004. What kind of fool am I?
My first game is one that
First?
there's no way to
This is your second, man.
for the PS. Oh yeah, 'cause I said Rogue Galaxy. Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, it's so late. Soulcalibur III. God damn it. I played the fucking absolute shit out of Soulcalibur III.
It's
Mostly
good, but I just, the whole...
Mostly the RTS mode. I
It don't
fucking
got
loved
no Tekken character in it.
that. No tanking, no fucking Henhachi Mishima or whatever the fuck.
It's weird
I
that
was kidding. I did
Soulcalibur
not say
3
Hachi.
has probably the best single-player content of any of the games in the series,
Yeah.
What?
which is weird. Yeah.
Let me
Like,
think.
Two's was kind of cool. Like I liked the you can find those little joke weapons. I hated like the dumb like, oh, if you hit the walls, you take 200% more damage, or like
Oh,
this
yeah.
fucking lizard man will like he'll fucking steal your money and then push you off a fucking bridge, but you still got to find a way to win. Or
Didn't-
I'm making that up.
It is
Didn't
weird.
5 have that neat like Mario Party board?
I don't remember.
Did it? It may have.
5,
That
yeah,
sound-
because 5 was the one with Ezio, and I remember
Yeah.
it because
I remember I played that like twice and was just like kind of on it. I don't know why. It didn't feel as good as 4 did to me.
yeah, I was kind of over Soul Calibur at that point too. But I remember playing the single player and being like, well, this is the coolest part.
Yeah, and then a while ago I'm like, oh, they did make Soulcalibur 6, and I bought it, and it's fine.
Yeah, because Soul
Yeah.
Calibur 4, the one with the Star Wars characters, that just
Oh,
had
yeah.
like a tower. And
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
fucking annoying.
Oh yeah, the 4 was great.
Three was the first one that let you create a character.
Yes.
And I made so many fucking dumb characters. They had all sorts of like, you could like you could base their fighting style off of like already existing characters, but they
Yeah.
also had like other create a character only fighting styles that were pretty fucking cool as well too. Like there was one that was just like hand to hand combat, but you shot lightning or something. I forget. There's a lot of really cool shit that Soul Calibur 3 did, and I remember that was another one of the games I bought a PS2 for because it was only on PS2, and I played the fuck out of Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
Then Soul Calibur 3 fucking back in the day rocks, but 4 is still no, it's tough to say.
Two's probably
favorite.
Two's probably the best one.
Yeah, 2 and 4 are my
Yeah.
favorites. I love the character creation. in
It's
4,
funny you
but-
mentioned the character creation because Mortal Kombat Armageddon had to create a character. What I remember, it wasn't that good.
No, no, it wasn't. It was.
No,
It was.
but it was cute. But
Yeah.
but Armageddon's like kart racer, phenomenal.
That was cool.
Love that shit. Bring it back.
That was cool.
Fuck
In
yes,
fact, and
dude.
Ed Boon keeps Ed Boon is such a fucking troll because on Twitter he'll tease shit like that where he's like, should we bring back Combat Kart? And everyone's like, yes. And then he
Yeah,
just doesn't
everyone's always like, no matter what the fucking minigame is, everyone's like, yeah, the puzzle
Yes.
combat,
Oh,
yes.
Dude, puzzle combat
Chess
was
combat.
so fucking cool.
Dude,
I
chess
love-
combat!
Chess Combat was the shit.
Dude,
Loved
chess
that
combat was
shit.
great, dude, because
Oh, yeah.
if you fucking sucked, then you just beat their ass in fucking Mortal Kombat, the game you're already playing.
Oh yeah, it was great.
What's your last one, Nave?
What fucking system were you talking about?
PS2.
Oh man, I have like fucking 11 in this category. I guess I'll go. What were we talking about? Guitar Hero, Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
What's the least like those other two?
Monopoly. I'm sure there's a Monopoly game on there.
Yeah, it probably is.
Let's go with Grand Theft Auto 3. Fuck it.
All right.
Everybody
There you
knows
go.
it.
It's not
Everybody
the one I would
loves
have
it.
picked. I would have picked Vice City.
Well, I liked Vice City more, but Grand Theft Auto 3 was this kind of phenomenon for me as a child, where I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
that you can just walk around, you can just do things, whatever you,
can
wanted."
do anything,
It felt like the world was your oyster,
It was the beginning of the end.
and you could fuck it.
and also Mortal Kombat. I mean,
that was San
Mortal Kombat.
Andreas.
Also, Grand Theft Auto Vice City didn't have any hills. It was a flat plain.
Yep.
So
Oh, really?
fuck it. Yes. It was literally God, why do I keep saying Mortal Kombat? Grand Theft Auto Vice City was a literal flat plane, and the only elevation that made you go up was bridges, going to like different spots.
That's fucking bullshit.
But Vice City has the aesthetics.
Yes,
you know?
and
the
also
80s Miami Vice City thing's great.
it's got the 99 Red Balloon song,
Oh,
and it's
the soundtrack of that game.
Jesus
The Vice City soundtrack is fantastic. Like the
got
radio
the
stations and
Neomites.
also the talk radio, which it was a long time till a buddy of mine was like, dude, listen to like the talk radio in Vice City. So once I booted it up and just like parked a car somewhere and just listened to the talk radio for like an hour, it was amazing.
And banged a whore.
That's the
talk
fucking
radio.
thing
Of
is that
course.
like, because obviously as a kid you don't give a fuck about talk radio. Who the fuck?
No, but
but
it
like
is hilarious.
I bought the trilogy whenever it was like first released because people were showing all the awful fucking glitches and bugs and shit, and I was like, oh boy, I gotta fucking support that because I love seeing that shit. And so I absolutely love seeing glitches and horrible games, and so I really need to play through each of those fucking games as an adult and like listen to the things, because one of the most this is an offshoot. I mean, everyone knows Grand Theft Auto 3, so who fucking cares? But so whenever I first played Grand Theft Auto 4, I didn't give a fuck about it, and this was when I was in high school. I just played the online. Everybody fucked around in the online, and then we were like, all right, well, let's go play Call of Duty 4 or Halo 3, right? Nobody really cared about Grand Theft Auto 4 unless you were an adult. And now that I am an adult. Maybe like 3 years ago, I went back and played Grand Theft Auto 4, and it is one of the fucking funniest, most thought-provoking like campaigns that I've ever played in my life.
It's
It
the
is
best game
so
in the
insane.
series.
It is. It really is. And it's incredible how fucking awesome the story and the character, almost every character is so insanely detailed, and like the way that like the situations that you find yourself in Grand Theft Auto 4 are so incredible. And the Lost in the Dam, not so great. But the Ballad of Gay Tony is just right up there in just incredible, impeccable storytelling, man. Everybody's got to play it.
It's still like a top 5 DLC of all time.
Oh,
Tony.
man.
It is so good. And I love, like, Nico is probably like one of my favorite protagonists in gaming ever.
Yeah.
Like, he's just such an interesting character. Like, way more interesting than any of the characters in 3, in my opinion, or in 5, in my opinion. Because like 5 is good, but I feel like I've just so burnt out on 5. It makes me appreciate 4 more. You know?
Oh yeah, from that perspective for sure. I would probably put. So I would probably. I think it would be like Franklin, Nico, and then
Yeah.
interchangeably.
Yeah,
the other two.
Like Trevor is great, but he's not like a protagonist, or he's not like a he's that side character that you enjoy. But having him as like a main character feels kind of weird. And then you have and then Michael is just kind of bland. Like he feels like a weird mixture of GTA 3 and Vice City's like protagonist, but he's just not interesting enough.
I think the primary thing about the three characters is that Franklin is the new fresh blood, and he is like the primary character of the game.
Yeah,
I think
CJ.
that Trevor is the person that forces the plot to move. He's literally the driving force of the plot.
Yeah.
And I think Michael is the nostalgia factor of the old Grand Theft Auto games that are being dragged along the way. Like, this is the old type of game design character that's being pulled along with the new character, Franklin, who he's, like, trying to interweave his life into. And then Trevor, the insane person that's, like obviously this is the direction that gaming has been going in this insane direction. That's why I think that I appreciate Grand Theft Auto 5 a lot more than like I feel like most people do, even though I do agree that Grand Theft Auto 4 is better than Grand Theft Auto 5. I love this weird dynamic between those three characters. I think it's a very unique perspective.
I think it just is, for me, it's that like 5 has been this like just zeitgeist thing for like 10 years. And it's like I've been ready to move on, because I went to the midnight launch of 5. My friend got it for his 360. We installed it. It was a whole thing. Great game. I love 5. I've beaten it. It is a fantastic game, but it's just I'm ready for 6. I've been ready for 6 for years now.
Absolutely.
And from what I'm hearing of the leaks of 6, hopefully it's really good, because instead of 3, they're going to do 2 characters, which I think is better. But again, whenever Rockstar decides to let us know when they finally show us the GTA 6 trailer, it'll blow up. It'll be a big thing. We'll all talk about it then.
Yeah,
So.
absolute trust in those guys.
Do you want me to do my last one?
Is it your turn?
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
That wasn't
right.
my turn. I'm sorry.
Go for it, dude. No, you're good.
All right, my last PS2 game. This one, we'll see if this strikes a chord with you guys, but I'm going to cheat a little bit because it's 2 games, but I feel they're worth talking about together, and that is the Star Wars Battlefront games.
Ooh, those are good ones.
My fucking childhood, man. I cannot tell you, like, Star Wars Battlefront 2 might be the most played PS2 game of all time for me. I like literal like years of me just like coming home, from school, turning on my PS2 and just playing Battlefront 2. Like, I didn't do the online. I just did all the single player stuff.
Nice.
And just fucking and I've played it recently too, and it still holds up. And what's cool is the PC versions of 1 and 2. Well, I know 1. I'm not sure about 2. Like the old ones, the servers are online, so you can play with people online right now, and it's a lot of fucking fun. And they're both backwards compatible on Xbox as well. But yeah, those games really struck a fucking nerve with me as a kid, because that was when the prequels were coming out regularly, and I was watching them, and as a kid I liked them. I still kind of like the prequel. They're fine. But but Battlefront was just kind of just what I wanted. Just a game where it's like, oh, I'm a soldier in like a war. You're just shooting people. It's very simple, but you throw the Star Wars aesthetics on it, and it's like, oh, I can be a droid and like shoot a rocket launcher.
Droidica.
Yeah, I could be a droidica, or I could be a Wookiee, and like bowcaster, like stormtroopers from like up top in like Bespin or whatever.
Fuck yeah, dude.
They're both fantastic. 2 is much. There's a lot more in there because they have the space battle stuff, and the Galactic Conquest isn't just like a menu. It's like you're actually traveling around the galaxy, and you have to like buy the upgrades for your army. So it's like you just start with like, say, like 1 clone trooper, but you can get the specialty ones when you get more credits, and the second one allowed you to play as the heroes. In fact, my favorite mode in Battlefront 2 was if you went to, I think it was instant action, and you went to the Mos Eisley map, you could have a mode where you played as like all the heroes and villains. So you could just have like Jedis just like slashing each other. And it was so much fucking fun. And they played like all the weird, silly Star Wars music while you were doing it. And
I just want the Cantina song.
Oh yeah,
repeat all the time.
They did the Cantina stuff. They would do the Ewok song at the end of Jedi. The weird like Jabba's palace song in Jedi. When the guys were dancing before like the girl gets dropped into the Sarlacc pit. So. But yeah, I love the Battlefront games still to this day. I remember buying Battlefront 2 at the old GameStop that we had around here, and I had never been so excited to like pop a game into my PS2, and it lived up to the hype. And I do not care for the new ones at all.
I think I've maybe played a demo for the first.
Yeah,
the first.
They're just Battlefield.
Battlefront.
They're just Battlefield, which is fine, but it doesn't have the same feeling for me as like the original ones.
Same mouth feel,
I guess. But it's also like I'm a bit of a simp for Pandemic Studios, which we'll find out about a little bit later.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot different.
And it's not the last time I'll talk about Pandemic Studios in this.
My last one is
which just interject. If any studio were ever to die because of their name before COVID,
yeah.
Probably be those guys.
Good old fucking Pandemic.
Those guys died so that. Never mind. I was trying to figure out. Like, I was like, is there another like semi-close studio?
There used to be this one studio. No, this is unrelated. There was one studio that used to be. They were one name, and then they changed to A2M, which they didn't know at the time, but that was like an acronym for ass to mouth. It actually stood for like. It was like something.
Artificial mind and movement.
Yeah.
Their behavior interactive. The Dead by Daylight people.
Yep. They used to be A2M, but they changed it because people kept going, ass to mouth.
I know them for making Naughty Bear.
Fucking Naughty
Holy
Bear,
fuck,
dude.
That's so wild, dude.
I have it in my 360 collection over there.
It's so wild.
Naughty.
You fucking
it was so
brought
fucking
up
weird.
Naughty Bear, this game that nobody knows about because, like, just lately some crazy shit's going on with the Yandere Dev Simulator. Like, creator. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be the one to tell you that you can just delete this if this is too raunchy for the fucking show.
It's fine.
But he was texting minors, and that's as far as I'll go. They were talking about how Yandere Dev was basically the precursor to Naughty Bear, and I was like, "Oh my god, it is!"
Oh no,
Jesus
Christ!
No. Yeah, my last pick is definitely not Naughty Bear or Yandere Dev or whatever. It's Final Fantasy X.
God
baby.
damn it! I knew you were gonna say 10.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, so
what? There's only one other game, right?
For what?
On the PS2.
Well,
for Final Fantasy?
Well, there was 11 and 12.
Yeah. And
I was just thinking about 12.
Well, there was 10. Well, 11 was on the PS2 as well, but
2.
11 was the MMO.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I didn't think about it on the PS2.
Yeah, most people don't.
10 was super, super rad
10
at
is
the time
good.
because, like, coming from, like, 7, 8, and 9, you know, those were good. And then seeing, like, a buddy of mine play 10, which he rented from a gas station in a town nearby.
Makes sense.
It was mind-blowing because for one, there was voice acting, and then two, like, the sphere grid was fucking insane.
What the weird thing is, the sphere grid, it looks complicated, but it's really not.
It's super simple.
Yeah.
You just go straight.
Yeah.
Just go straight.
These days I do the expert sphere grid, which gives you more freedom to do kind of whatever you want, which is a lot of fun.
I think that's the primary thing for me was that, like, I played 8, then 7, and then I skipped 9 and went straight to 10. And, like, when I was playing 8, I was like, I got used to this really complex, very customizable way of playing the game. And then I went to 7, which was, like, baby mode. It was literally Pokemon. And I was like, okay, well, this is the dumbest thing, but whatever. This game is interesting. It's cool. And then I went to 10, which was, like, this very strange, like, ha 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 ha, and also the sphere grid. And I was like, what in the, like, it was like information overload somehow, even more than just having everything in a box and, like, just moving things around in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the game kind of throws you into it, you know? Because when you're starting, it's like Titus signing those, like, blitz balls, and then, like, shit gets weird, and then Orin is just like, the stuff is going to happen, and Titus is like,
go!
And then sin!
Yeah, then shit just gets fucking weird. But
and then they have that song that plays when you're playing Blitzball, where it's like, "Hey, who farted?"
It's better than Blitzball itself. I can't stand Blitzball.
I've tried so many times to figure out how the fuck to play Blitzball so I can get that ultimate weapon for Waka.
I mean, I
can't.
I get how it works. It's just, if you're gonna have, like, a sports mini game, don't make it fucking turn based. Like, just make it action-y. Just make it like a fucking, like, FIFA thing, and it would have been fine.
I thought football was turn-based.
Not this football.
10 is definitely my second favorite Final Fantasy game because, like, the story was definitely a lot more mature than any of the other ones that I'd just come across. Like,
it's underrated. I think the story in 10 is underrated, and, like,
what?
Titus, I don't even hate Titus that much.
Wait, you guys think the story in 10 is underrated?
Well, because people tend to shit on 10 a lot because of Titus. Yeah, he's a bit annoying, but
he's a whiny bitch at the beginning.
But the thing is, I don't hate him. Like, I totally understand his character. Like, if you were in his situation, you would be like, "What the fuck is going on? This shit is weird." Because the whole time he's like, "What is going on?" And nobody's explaining anything to him, and he's getting upset because nobody's fucking telling him shit. Like, you would be in his position as well. He's like, "What's going on?" And nobody's telling him.
Hey there, everybody. Aaron here. Unfortunately, due to some fucking weird circumstances, we weren't able to record the last half of this episode where we talk about the GameCube and the Xbox and all that. But I guess a semi-truck hit a power pylon or power pole, I guess, down the street from my house. So my power kept, like, flipping on and off very quickly every maybe like 30 or 40 minutes, and that was causing a lot of problems. And we eventually just decided, hey, fuck it, we'll record the second half another time. So I guess tune in next week for part 2 of this episode. to be continued. Next week on Super Pod Saga, Aaron and Nave and Thrak, we talk about the GameCube and the Xbox, and maybe we'll defeat Frieza and we'll punch a motherfucker in the head and his head explodes, and sure you can. And I guess I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to do with this, but next week we'll talk about same guys, me, Thrak, Nave. We'll all talk about the GameCube and the Xbox, and of course our memories with the consoles and our 3 favorite games for each one. But yeah, thank you for listening. We hope you had a great time. I'll include Nave and Thrak's podcast info in the episode description. But I hope you guys, you wonderful listeners, have a great rest of your day or night, depending on when you're listening to this. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.